A very good evening and welcome to a very special edition of In the Ring. We are here outside tonight, outside on the Seawalls, and this is where the demolition exercise has started with these various stalls here. There are a number of persons out here, as you can see, and a number of stalls are being taken down. This is the day the gentlemen here the folks out here, the vendors, were kind of guarding against. Didn't want to see this day come, but it is here, and a number of men, no doubt, from the Ministry of Public Works are out here, and no fault with these guys out here. They're doing what they have to do, but what you are seeing here, this is a number of livelihoods being dismantled, and I'm going to walk you through as coherently and systematically as I can some of what you'll be witnessing out here this evening. Again, a very, very special edition of In the Ring. We are on the Seawalls here in downtown Georgetown, for those of you who are watching from overseas. This seawall was built by the Dutch, as you know, and it is part of our sea defense structure. And that is one of the most recent excuses that have been proffered for the dismantling of these stalls out here. I just want to put that out there first and foremost. And as these guys are doing their work out here, I'm going to walk you through some of what is happening on the ground here and some of the challenges also that are at play here, some of the politics as well that are at play here. Again, today is the 25th day of April 2024, and as you witness the various stalls being broken down here, the various caravans being dismantled, that is what is happening to various livelihoods in this country. And we have seen it in the last 3.5, 4 years of the People's Progressive Party civic administration. I'm not going to run with these guys here. These guys are doing what they're supposed to do out here. All right? They got a job to do, and that's what they're doing. But there's a system at work out here that we got to be cognizant of. There's a whole system at work. Now, early in this week, today's Thursday, as I said, the 25th day of April, a number of vendors out here started to be removed. And the notice that they had was that all vendors had to move. Let me see if we can pan around to show you a number of trucks that are out here. So what they learned is that all vendors had to be removed. All vendors who are on this parapet here, on this reserve as it were, all vendors had to be removed. And then that was changed, and we believe it's because of the pushback that started to happen. All of that started to change, that narrative that all vendors must move. And then the government came back through the Fisher Bishop and said that not only all the vendors have to move, or rather not all the vendors have to move, it is just those who have fixed structures would have to move. Only those with fixed structures. Now, it's interesting. It's interesting because the government wanted to say that the vendors who were out here, they were in contravention of, this is the material that has been assembled out here. This is the, let me come across the road. This is the machinery to dismantle these stalls. I'm trying to observe public safety because cars are moving here too. They said not all vendors were going to be removed, but those with fixed structures, permanent structures, those were going to be removed because those permanent structures were in contravention of the agreement that vendors had. And truth be told, there are a number of fixed structures here. All right, so this is coming down off of this low bed here, excavator. A number of trucks are out here. And so the fixed structures became the target. And there is existing, I'm told, haven't seen any of those agreements, such agreements between the Sea Defense Board, apparently, that has purview out here. The Sea Defense Board, all right, I'm going to try to tweak my, make sure we have sufficient lighting and also that my audio isn't clipping, so apologies. Apologies, we just want to make sure our lighting is not clipping here. So the Sea Defense Board seemed to have had purview. All right, I'm trying to catch some of this, what's going on here. So again, persons were told apologies there, I just want to make sure I'm capturing this right. All right. Forgive me, folks. Trying to get my bearing here. So as I said, the Sea Defense Board seems to be the body with the purview over what happens here. Trying to pull along the audio of my mic. I don't want to be clipping and affecting your ears. All this we have to do. So this came off of that low bed we saw and is parked in this direction here. So that's where we heard that the Sea Defense Board is the entity with the oversight for what transpired out here. But I want to get at the fact that these fixed structures didn't come out here overnight. These fixed structures didn't come out here overnight. These structures were not built in a week. So if this oversight body was giving oversight, then why were those persons allowed to continue building? If the oversight body was doing its work, why were those vendors allowed to keep building? If that oversight body was indeed doing its work. That is one question. I couldn't tell you offhand how many fixed structures are here. There might be 5, might be 10, might even be more. Those structures all did not appear overnight. And if the sea defense body was doing its work, protecting Guyanese from the ravages of the sea, being proactive, let's start there. Why were those vendors allowed to continue? That is the question we're asking. So that is the first question. I'm just pausing there for a second to take in some of the action here. So as we said, folks, a number of these vehicles are out here. And I'm pausing to allow you to comprehend and analyze that question. If the Sea Defense Board was being proactive, why were those fixed structures allowed to continue to be constructed, to be erected here? If that Sea Defense Board had a real interest in this piece of real estate here, and we are just west of Camp Street, or east of Camp Street here, just off Camp Street, if you're heading back to, or heading up the seawall to the pump station, we're just off Camp Street here. And we were told that this is where the exercise has started. The folks asked us to come down and take a look. And there are scores of men out here and as many trucks out here. And caravans, stalls, however you might want to characterize them, are dismantling or being dismantled. So the question is, why did the Sea Defense Board allow these structures? Right? Now, these guys that you see out here, they got to eat a bread. The Fisher Bishop would have called them contracts given out, and they got to come here and they got to eat a bread. They are under orders, and I have no qualms with them. But if you want to say that you are for good governance, right, and all of that, you are for order, but you allowed these structures to be built here. No, folks, that says a lot. That says a lot if you ask me. That says a whole lot. So I'm going to take a walk down this way so you guys can see some of the other equipment that's out here. And this way would lead to the roundabout and the pump station, the Kitty pump station up this way. And so they're just off from the Kingston Seawall. Just off from the Kingston Seawall. And again, some of the equipment out here, number of pallets already stacked up there. Another truck up this way. And no doubt they're going to sweep all the way up the site. They're going to sweep all the way up the site. So I've asked that first question there. Why were all of these stalls, especially the fixed ones, allowed to stay or to be constructed in the first place? Why was that allowed? If the Sea Defense Board was so agile and so nimble with its own monitoring, and that it was a policy that these structures should not be up here, fixed, permanent. That's the first question I want to ask. And maybe some of you bright folks who have already signed on with us, who are sharing the live and smashing that emoji button, maybe you guys can ask that question. Now there's a whole line of trucks leading down there, and I have no doubt they're going to be taking away these dismantled structures. So as you guys are at home viewing this, that's the first question I want to ask. The second question I want to ask you lovely folks who are watching us at home concerns the Qatari hotel that is going to be built here. That's the second question. Now, the government has been adamant thus far. They have been very adamant that this is not about that Qatari hotel, which is going to be built on the old GNS Sports Club ground or the NIS Sports Club ground. Incidentally, and coincidentally, lots of these fixed structures are in front of those grounds on the seawall. It's just coincidental. And lots of those fixed structures are in front of those grounds. Maybe I should ask the question. The second question has to be, is it coincidental? Because I know we got a lot of bright folks who are going to be watching us. And that should be the real question. Is it coincidental that we have all of those fixed structures in front of the NIS ground and the GNS ground, which have just been sold to the Qataris? We don't know all of the details of those contracts. But we know that a Qatari group, a Qatari investment is being made, and a hotel is going to be constructed there. And these fixed structures are in front of those grounds here on the seawalls. Now again, the authorities are saying this is not about the hotel. So my second question is it coincidental? Is it incidental to that recent turning exercise we saw and big fanfare? Is it incidental to that we are seeing the dismantling of these stalls on the facade of those grounds, on the periphery of those grounds? But I know you folks got some very, very bright people among you and with you. Very, very bright people among you, and you will be able to answer those questions. I might have some unusual pauses because as I talk to you, I'm assessing what's happening here too. I'm mindful of the traffic, and I'm mindful of the activities happening in front of me. Lots of folks have noted my presence. I got lots of whispering. There are lots of things being said, but I'm holding a focus. I'm holding a focus. And I encourage our Guyanese brothers and sisters involved in this struggle to hold a focus. And as I said, I don't blame these guys who are here, making the bread and eating the food. As a Rastaman said yesterday, who we interviewed, he said the bread and sturdy, but people got to eat a bread. People got to make a bread in this country and eat a food. I don't blame them. Won't blame them, can't blame them. So a number of stalls here, folks, are being dismantled. And that's the questions, the first two questions I'm going to ask. The first one was, if the Sea Defense Board was so concerned about sea defense, why were these structures allowed to be constructed here, built here, settled here? And then incidentally, since the contract was signed for the Qatari hotel, this assault on vendors. Now, when people see these things happening, seared into our imagination, seared into our conscience, is what happened at Caneview, Mucker Arcadia. Seared into our conscience is what happened at Hillfoot. What happened at Hillfoot? And incidentally, all of that, folks, happened and transpired over the last 3.5 years. Did I mention Amelia's Ward squatting area? Did I mention Success squatting area? Did I mention all of that? No, I think things have slowed down a little bit because we're out here. I think things have slowed down a little bit. But a lot of trucks out here, a lot of equipment No doubt, they probably will just assemble them here and then, like a thief in the night, like the thieves they are, the people are going to come back and dismantle. I blame the People's Progressive Party Civic Administration for a Sea Defense Board that clearly isn't vigilant. For a Sea Defense Board that clearly isn't vigilant. One of the gentlemen who has a business out here said he was given an oral agreement. And no doubt others would have been given that too. They were given he said he was given an oral agreement. Some of the trucks here. Truck here. There's an excavator there. And there's some other trucks down that side. So no doubt. Now, what is fixed? These are caravans. This one has a punctured wheel. There's another caravan structure. This has no wheels in it. Is that fixed? I heard a very loose definition of fixed yesterday by the Fisher Bishop. Anything that don't have wheels, fixed. Anything that doesn't have wheels, fixed. So if this Civil Sea Defense Board was so vigilant, how come we're seeing what we're seeing here? If this project is not related to the Qatari hotel, is it incidental? Just a few weeks after that contract was signed, we see the vendors here being moved. Is that the case? It's just incidental to that? I hope the heavy wind here don't distort our song too much. But as I said, folks, a number of vehicles out here. A number of men out here, no doubt carrying on this work. And stalls are being dismantled. That's what's happening here. Now, we are not trying to get in the way of that, because you ain't gonna turn this around and say it, as they're trying to say, APNU, AFC, and all that nonsense. Because once you want to bring truth and light to the darkness that is enveloping this country, use opposition. That's what we're hearing. Now, I'm going to see how far down I can walk. To just give you a sense of what's going to happen here. A number of structures are going to be moved. This direction here, they have a lot of those businesses. I'm going to take a little walk up further from where we are, moving away from Camp Street, and show you a number of the... So this is going down here tonight, and these equipment, they have been mobilized. Again, like a thief in the night. that this government is. Like a thief in the night. And we're just going a little further down to give you guys a sense of all this can be cleared in the morning. What bothers me is the livelihoods that are being disrupted. The livelihoods that are going to be disrupted here. People have to go home and tell their family, I don't know what's going to happen next month with the bills. Right? The money that comes out of these businesses here feed families, put kids through school, no doubt, pay bills, perhaps pay mortgages, pay loans. Number of these establishments are here. I'm going to walk down as far as I can. Sweet Villa. Number of establishments are out here. Now this is on wheels, so you might be taking the very last look of this here. Some folks are out here for some recreations. I want to stay out of their personal business and not invade their own privacy. I'm balancing all these interests out here, watching the traffic, watching my own safety. People are out here recreating. Not get too much in their business. Another building out here. This could be gone in the morning. That could be gone in the morning there. Again, we're just off Camp Street. That could be gone from there. And I'm going to go as far as just beyond these cars here to give you guys a sense of what's happening here. Some of the other structures here, and then I'm going to head back in the other direction. So folks, I know by the time good night, Chief. So somebody's saying hello here. A number of folks on the outside here. We're heading down to some of the other structures down this way. Again, we're pushing kind of towards the Kitty Pump Station direction. I think we're about halfway between Camp Street and the roundabout in that direction. There is an indigenous establishment here. It was damaged by fire a couple of months ago. This could be gone in the morning because clearly this is not on wheels either. It looks like a replica of the Umanayana. We don't have a lot of lighting down this side, but it looks a little bit like the Umanayana. And as I start to wrap up this, folks, one of the vendors who occupied a business close by the Seawall bandstand months ago, she is now among these vendors on this side. A smaller replica, perhaps, of the Umanayana. This is an indigenous business here. So we get the name of it. It says Tuma. Yeah. Tuma Indigenous Touch. That's what the name of that signboard says. Tuma Indigenous Touch. One of the vendors who used to occupy by the Seawall bandstand is now a vendor on this side. And when Minister Edgell was there yesterday talking to the vendors, you know his arrogance. Some of the vendors characterized him yesterday as the devil. This is as far as I'll push in this direction. This business is Chef It Up Catering. That's the name of that notice board there. Chef It Up Catering. And this is a container that has expanded into this business here. Chef It Up Catering. I'm heading back down to Camp Street. That vendor asked the Minister of Public Works. Remember, she was a vendor in the area of the bandstand. That vendor asked the Minister of Public Works, right? Or made a statement, asked a question. She said, I was one of those vendors who was asked to go beyond Camp Street when that new area, food court, kiosks, whatever you want to call it, was being constructed. When that was happening, she said, I was one of those vendors, and I complied. She said the First Lady and company told them that when those booths, the kiosks, the food court there, when they were finished constructing, they were going to have first preferences. She said, Minister, none of us got any of those kiosks. Everybody who got one is new to vending on the seawall. That is what she said. Everyone who is vending there now is new to vending on the seawall. But before she could even finish to know whether that was a statement or a question was going to follow, the minister hurriedly said, that's a different issue, and brushed her off. The minister said, that is a different issue, and quickly brushed her off. That is the Guyana we're living in. That is the Guyana we're living in. The promises of this government isn't worth the paper it is written on. UG free as yet. Pensioners getting 40,000, 50,000. Public servants got the 50% raise. Public servants got the 50% raise. Huh? We got fewer blackouts. The cost of living is lower. Is it? Crime is less. We got the crime prevention plan as yet. Huh? The promises of this PPP install regime is not worth the paper it is written on. It is not. Again, I'm trying not to be intrusive, because even though from the looks of it, some of these businesses are fixed structures, they are still operating here. They're still open for business. A number of people are recreating here, and I don't want to be too intrusive, but this could be the last we're seeing of these businesses here, because the jagabats, the trench crappos, and the tadpoles, they're just up the road. This could be the last of these businesses we're seeing here. Lives are going to be shattered. Dreams, bills and deadlines are not going to be met. Financial deadlines. Because people not eating a bread. It's just some people. My belief, while I agree that persons should obey the law, a sea defense board that is not vigilant and has allowed people to come and vend here, and not only that, build structures, is equally responsible. But this has nothing to do with that. This has to do primarily with those structures, this has to do primarily with that Qatari hotel that is going to be built there. And I close with this, gentle folks. I close with this. Sabbath News in an editorial called this a long time ago. Not to say others haven't. Not to say commentators, analysts, the parliamentary opposition have not called it. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're an ardent viewer of our program, let me try to swing this now. If you're an ardent viewer of our program, you know, I kind of use Sabbath News because Sabbath News are a little middle of the road in terms of the journalism. Right? They're independent. Let me say that. As I sign off, they're independent. And Sabbath News called it, trying to look presentable and social media worthy. Sabbath News called it. Sabbath News said in an editorial a few short weeks ago that no hotel of any international standard, is going to want vendors on the periphery of the five-star hotel. No hotel of international standard is going to want vendors on the periphery of their establishment. So Sabbath News called it very, very early. And I want to add as I sign off, the special broadcast of In the Ring from the Seawall here, just off Camp Street. What Timothy Jonas from Anuk said. When people can't ply the trades here, earn a living from the work that they really want to do, entrepreneurs, small business owners, Guyanese are only going to be fit to clean the toilets and the bedrooms in the Qatari hotel. You know? Maybe Mayor Motley, who we don't like, was a prophet when she was here 2 oil conferences ago, who said Guyanese are going to be tenants in their own country. And that is what's going to happen when you can't dictate the kind of work you want to do. And again, I want to underscore, because I'm cognizant that members of this government watching us now are going to say, oh, I don't like law and order. The opposition don't like law and order. No, 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 no. Things should happen in a democratic society, a law-abiding society. Things should go a certain way. No qualms with that. But a sea defense board must be held responsible for allowing people to come and build structures under their noses. Nobody saw that. 3.5 years, 4 years into government, no minister didn't see that. But now you want to facilitate the sellout of Guyana with the Qatari hotel. You want to raise that as an issue. Right? And so the vendors here are caught between a rock and a hard place. Folks, that is the Guyana we live in. That is going to be living. And on all sides of me, those businesses that are fixed or deemed to be fixed are going to be dismantled. That's what's happening here. That's all from us at this end, folks. Because of what's happening out here, we had to come in this format tonight. Until our next broadcast, thanks for joining us. Couldn't see the names there to give you guys a shout out. But thanks for joining our broadcast. Share the live, smash that emoji button for us. Stay safe, folks. Stay well.